Hello, everyone. Hello. Welcome. That is an excellent emote. I love the pop, 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 pop. I appreciate that, Scoop. Thank you for being ready and willing to wield the blade, as it were. Um, so we are still churning our way through the Chrono Jotter. We last time solved the rather limited mystery of the murder of our missing for 4 years girlfriend, which in turn resurrected her back to life, and she does not recognize us. So we're starting to get into that real visual novel, freaky, confusing shit. And I think it's time to just kind of get on back to it. And switch to the game cam. There we go. Okay. There we go. Nope. The game is not this. Oh god. Okay. We're doing this again. Why are we doing this again? If we've got audio, the game is very fussy about when it wants to capture and when it doesn't. So I think that do a display capture. Yeah, it's definitely some clunkiness here and there. Okay, we have visuals, it looks like. Perfect. Alright. So, back to it. The last thing we heard was on Sakura going, who are you? Oh yeah, no, it's just got some visual novel clunkiness for sure. I'm... Miss Sakura, what are you trying to say? Ron pointed at herself and then started rubbing at her face repeatedly. It's me. Ron Ibuki. Miss Sakura, why are you... Ibuki-san, is An really your girlfriend? Of course she is! The sound of Ron shouting echoed in the old showers. She and I started all the way back in high school. Started... Wait, what's... Just what am I? No, that's not right. Miss Sakura and I, we should already be... Ron had noticed that her memories and her current physical condition held contradictions which couldn't be ignored. But she was bewildered by the strangeness of An's behavior, and she didn't have the energy left to think about other problems. Girlfriend? An spoke a question. Have I met you before? Ron's eyes went wide, her pupils dilating in and out at an uncanny frequency. She almost wanted to faint, even as her arms shook An's body back and forth. Don't be like this, Miss Sakura. Why would you say something like that to me? You know how scared I'd be if you acted like this. You can't do this to... Ron released An and pulled at her own hair. Miss Sakura, I'm begging you, if you're teasing me, stop. Please, just tell me you're lying to me. You can't have possibly forgotten. Don't keep... I'm sorry. I really don't remember you. Ron clutched at her own face with her hands. Under the pressure of her fingernails, several wounds appeared in her skin, but That didn't deter her from continuing to apply force. She struggled desperately to think of a way to call up Aunt Sakura's memories again, or rather trying to figure out how to get Aunt to stop this terrible joke. Ron lifted her head and looked at Aunt with pleading eyes. Miss Sakura, you... Right. Remember the time we went to the beach? During the summer of our first year in high school. We sat together on the beach and watched the moon with each other. You remember that, right? At the time you'd said... I'm sorry, I really don't remember. And what about the first time I visited your house? You held me in your lap, and we talked about... I don't know of this. No. How could? There's more. Miss Sakura, you couldn't possibly have forgotten that time I almost gouged my own eyes out so that you tied me to a chair and took care of me for several days until I went back to normal, right? I don't remember anything like that. Ron? Some real fucky shit's going on. It's finally come. I couldn't stop it. Now it has breached through my defenses completely. I fell to the floor and dry heaved without stop, making nauseating sounds whose echoes corroded my eardrums. Ibuki-san! Takemiho bent down and kneeled next to me. What is your deal, Ms. Ronald? I'm hoping we find out. We're still according to the save file in Prologue, so we got a lot to drill into here. I can't tell if she's narrating this as she's going with the silhouette, or if this is non-diegetic. Takemiho bent down and kneeled next to me, stroking my back in an effort to soothe me. But she couldn't soothe away the bleeding thorns that were now sprouting from my vertebrae. They wouldn't be satisfied with flooding forth just from my mouth. They had to tear my flesh asunder as well. I heard them, their shrill laughs, the way they mocked my loneliness, scoffed at my reclusiveness, and denied my pride. No, I mean diegetic mental breakdown. Ranchan, what's wrong? Miss Ibuki? Don't. They were already before me, crawling on my eyes. I flailed and tried to shake them off, but all I managed was to fling to the ground were my tears, which beat a rhythm against the floor in lockstep with my trembling. Now you... An, you can't do this to me. Ibuki-san, that's enough. Miho took my shoulder and tried to help me to my feet, but it was no good. After all, their fangs were hovering right above my cranium. If I stood up now... I'm taking you to the infirmary. Don't touch me! I looked upward and saw that they were all standing around me, staring at me, and their detritus, still connected together by strands of viscera, were crawling towards me. I needed to escape. I needed to bring An with me and get out of here. All of you, stay away from me. Don't bully me. Sakura, let's go. They're... My hand passed through their bodies to grab a hold of Miss Sakura's arms. I pulled her up and we ran for the exit. Oi, Ibuki! Yoruno was trying to stop me. Was she like them as well? What was she saying? Should I listen? I won't listen. I shoved Yoruno out of the way and fled the showers. The sky rumbled low and heavy, and the storm clouds building up above were on the verge of bursting. They'd catch up to me. If it did, I had to get out of here. Miss Sakura, we need to go. Go where? Anywhere! It's just the two of us. Hurry! Miss Sakura was panting, but she was keeping up with my pace. That was good. Just like that. So long as we ran together, they couldn't catch us. Quickly. We needed to go quickly, or else they'll... I passed through the courtyard as their fragmented whispers coursed by my ears. Were they about to catch me? Impossible. Could still remember the direction that Indo had pointed towards. I grasped Miss Sakura's hand, letting my fingernails sink into her skin, like a key that fit a lock, binding us tightly together into one. Oh, I see the producer has joined us. I didn't notice when he hopped up here. Oh yes, happy Juneteenth, everybody. I do mean to say that. It's yeah. But thanks for coming in, Wishrex. Happy to see you here. Hey. No. Sorry, was dealing with a few cat crimes, and now he's decided to leave. It's fine. Soon the school gates were behind me. Northwest. That was the road out of here. I'd remember. Indo had pointed it out to me. Miss Sakura, on. The storm arrived as anticipated, but it couldn't stop me. I raised my arms to shield my eyes and continued to sprint. If I had a wider frame, I could have highlighted his crimes, but unfortunately it didn't show them. But no, he's guilty. He's always guilty. We're almost there, Miss Sakura. Soon, we'll be able to go back. I felt the storm blast the dirt under my feet into stinking mud in an instant, making my steps so heavy. But I absolutely wouldn't let go. Miss Sakura was right behind me. I'd never be separated from her ever again. Thanks, Scoop, for the gift sub. I really appreciate it. Enjoy the sub, Wish. I'm really trying to get some emotes and badges and stuff like that going. Hopefully we'll have something by next week, but we'll see. Or at least a concept next week. We'll figure it out. Miss Sakura's breaths grew heavier and heavier, and her pace seemingly grew disarrayed as well. But it wasn't enough. But it was enough, so long as she was still by my side. Almost there. Almost. Nobody will be able to bully me anymore. We'll be together forever, Miss Sakura. But then they came. They grabbed my feet, tripped me, caused me to lurch into a muddy pothole and stumble to the ground, pulling Miss Sakura into the mud water with me. Miss Sakura, get up, quickly. We've almost made it out. The tunnel's right there. I saw it then. The dark tunnel was filled with silt and stone, blocking the exit. I couldn't run anymore. And they were growing like thorns from the cracks in the rubble. I'd failed. I couldn't escape. They laughed as I continued to fail as I'd always done. With my escape forcefully ended, my body came to a halt as well, and my brain finally began functioning again. Just when I'd comprehended the situation before me, they had caught up to me as well. Miss Sakura, why would you forget me? I began bawling. There was nothing left to keep my decrepit self going. They would dominate my sanity eternally then. Ron. Miss Sakura, Ron. Miss Sakura's voice through the torrential rain was so startlingly clear that I turned around sharply. Joy, shock, confusion, and tears mixed together, pouring from my eyes. Miss Sakura, you've remembered me? Miss Sakura shook her head with a calm smile on her face. I don't remember you. Her words left me trembling. As I hyperventilated, my mouth reflexively opened and shut on its own, freely allowing them to pierce holes into my lips. Rainwater spilled into my throat and down my windpipe, causing me unbearable pain. But you say that I'm your beloved. So, that means you love me, and that my body loves you as well. You're in pain, because I don't remember you. Miss Sakura reached out and brushed away my tears. Even if you must bear the pain, haven't been forgotten by your beloved. Are you capable of loving me as you did before? I didn't really remember you, but you're really freaking me out, so I'll play along. My mind roiled like a whirlpool as I tried to comprehend the words that Miss Sakura was saying, because my understanding, the words she'd spoken were complete illogical nonsense. My body loves you as well. Pardon? What the fuck does that mean? Forehead is particularly glistening today. But that same whirlpool washed it all away. That's right. She had to be Aunt Sakura. Only her voice and her expression had the power to drive them out of my mind without having to swallow a page from the notebook. It had to be her. She was my beloved. Here, I am Aunt Sakura. Sakura! As An held Ron's face, her hand wiped away the twisted hallucinations that had bombarded Ron without stop, and Ron wailed out loud. Sakura, I've missed you so much. I've missed you. Don't leave me ever again. Sakura. Crying, Ron grasped An's hand and pressed it closely to her face. She shook her head, her inner turmoil almost piercing right through her own chest. You are Miss Sakura. I can tell that you're Miss Sakura. Even though your personality and the way you act are all completely different from before. Why? I don't know. An shook her head, her smile unchanging. Call me by the name Aunt Sakura, but I don't remember anything about myself. Could I be a soul that somehow made its way into the wrong body? I've never known what my purpose for existence is. Do I have the right to exist as myself, rather than as the identity of Aunt Sakura? Did Aunt Sakura have things she wanted to do? Should I be trying to complete those things for her? But I've never understood Aunt Sakura. I've never known what it was she wanted, and nobody has ever been able to tell me. Ron, can you tell me more about Aunt Sakura? An used her thumb to wipe away the tears from the corners of Ron's eyes, though soon rainwater covered it back up again. Can you tell me what I should do with my existence, this world? Miss Sakura, a beloved is someone who can become the other person's reason to continue living, right? But the present me cannot become your love, because I have no memories related to you. To become each other's meaning, we have to have shared experiences first, right? Like the things you talked about before. The beachside moon, the meetings and the embraces, and the suffering we endured together. Ron was silent. An's words to her were too much, too difficult to take in. But it was enough to let her keep going. Reason to continue living. Ron gently took An's hand. Miss Sakura, from the moment I saw you, you were already always my one and only reason for living. Ron opened her eyes wide and ceased crying. Sorry, Miss Sakura, for doubting you. To think that I might imagine that you would choose to leave me of your own volition and even forget me entirely. You've done nothing wrong. It's this school, and 6 of those students, they're the ones at fault. They must have done something to you. Ron? Ron held her right hand to the back of An's head, pressing her to Ron's shoulders. I'll unveil the secrets of this place and find a way to make you go back to how you used to be, Miss Sakura. Just leave it all to me, Miss Sakura. As long as you're here, there's nothing I can't do. Ron stood up, still holding An's hand. Seeing An's face suddenly tense, she hesitated a moment before asking. Also, Miss Sakura, can I, kiss you? Kiss me? Yes, because I've been looking for you for a long time, and I've missed you, so I'm having trouble holding myself back. No, we're not lovers yet. Yes, of course. Right. Since Miss Sakura doesn't remember me, and it's not the time or place for that sort of thing. So let's just go back to the school, then. I'm sorry that I got you drenched. It's all right. Ron nodded, holding tightly to An's hand as the two walked side by side towards the school. An, whose pace was slightly slower, lowered her head to look at Ron's jacket. The corners of her eyes pointed downward, and her eyelashes were like a cage which sealed her eyes behind them, preventing anyone from understanding what she was thinking. But I could feel that she was looking at me. Prologue complete. A chance to increase one of your stats has been acquired. Current attributes are Investigation 5, Charisma 6, Alacrity 4. Investigation. Attribute improvement complete. Hoo boy. Lot going on here with Ron and An. Hoo boy. But hey, we beat the prologue. Hell yeah. Time to find out what's going on at this fucked up school. Had someone spilled a bottle of stars? An kept a glass filled with tiny meteorites at her house before. On occasion, she'd open up the bottle so that she could pour them out. And then she'd nudge the little galactic visitors around with her fingers and tell Ron about their stellar origins in a quiet voice. On track for the 666 stat line. Hail Satan, baby! Let's go! Ron had long since forgotten the names of all those galaxies, but the crisp, plinking sound of the meteors splashing out onto the wooden floorboards and the heaviness of An's voice, so different from the way that she usually spoke, had been indelibly engraved into her memories. No, it's the sound of rain, thought Ron as she opened her eyes and had her field of vision filled by an old wooden ceiling. She pushed herself up, only for the outlines of everything around her to start shaking, making it impossible for her to distinguish the desk, walls, and floor from each other. Ron felt like she had a terrible headache, and her strength momentarily failed as she tumbled off the bed. But a hand appeared to support her by the shoulder. Ron turned to see someone next to herself. Are you okay? Head still feeling dizzy? Blinking, Miho reached out to touch Ron's neck. After lingering there for a moment, she moved her hand upward to her face. With 4 fingers, she cupped Ron's cheek, while her unoccupied thumb pulled down on one of Ron's lower eyelids. Leaning in close, Miho inspected Ron's pupils, and after confirming that there were no abnormalities, laid her hand on Ron's forehead. You should be fine now. You gave us all a big scare when An carried you back, you know. Carried me? Yes. You, skipped breakfast, didn't you? Miho pulled her chair up a bit towards Ron's sickbed. You were already in a hypoglycemic state, and then you went and got yourself drenched by rain out there. We got you to the infirmary as soon as we could. Ron looked down to see some bandages tied around her arm. I put you on a glucose drip. Feeling better? Oh no. Ron noticed that she'd been changed into a patient's gown, and immediately started looking around for her jacket. I feel like the skipping breakfast has less to do with the psychotic break. Noticing what she was doing, Miho spoke. Don't worry. An helped take your notebook out and put it with your clothes. She pointed to the other end of the bed, where her neatly folded uniform and notebook sat atop a cabinet. Ron lowered her shoulders and relaxed. Somehow I think it's the sentient scribble monster that lives in her head that yearns to eat paper. Who can say? Who can say, Scoop? Did any of you look in the notebook? No, of course not. None of us are the type that would violate the privacy of others at the first opportunity. Miho laughed suddenly then. Though if your body counts as a private secret, we've definitely gotten to see that one at this point. What? Wait, wasn't it Miss Sakura who changed my clothes? Of course not. For starters, An couldn't even lift you. It was Yoruno-san and Asakura-san, of course. Well, I hope too. You've got a much better figure than meets the eye. I'm not sure what you're talking about. This is wildly inappropriate for a, sort of medical professional person to be doing. Miho laughed even more cheerfully, though Ron thought that she looked better when she wasn't laughing. Ron shifted a bit, leaning on the bed's headboard, and took a deep breath, thinking that she needed to get to the point. I spoke with Miss Sakura. She's lost her memories, not just about me, but practically everything. Yeah, or anyone. Like, inappropriate for literally anyone. Absolutely wild. Did you make Miss Sakura lose her memory? What exactly is going on with this school? How did you get here? Why do you have to kill people? How am I supposed to answer you like this? One question at a time. Miho pressed her hands to the back of Ron's head. Don't panic. None of us have any ill intentions towards you. Okay. Let's start with Miss Sakura. We know our priorities. Why is Miss Sakura missing her memories? What did you all do to her? We don't know either. The first day she showed up at the school, An said that she didn't remember anything. Miho lowered her head as she spoke. We were actually all really worried about her at first, but An told us not to worry about her. She said we didn't need to be concerned for her, and we didn't need to help her with anything. Just getting along was good enough. How understanding and kind Aunt Sakura was, and how concerned she was for others. Ron Ibuki already knew all of that perfectly well. Don't panic, none of us have ill intentions, provided you don't mind, like, just kind of gross sexual harassment. That wasn't the answer she'd wanted to hear. She had wanted to hear Miho Takei admit that, yes, the students were the culprits, and that they'd done this in order to torment Ron and An. So what you're saying is, only Miss Sakura has missing memories, and the rest of you are perfectly ordinary. It's the truth. We only learned that her name was An Sakura after we saw her name in the class roster. So it's unrelated to you. The rest of you didn't cause it. What? Of course not. How would we even... What a coincidence that you would be. So you're saying that the 7 of you met in this inexplicable location, started committing entirely pointless murders, and at the end of it all, Miss Sakura is the only one that's missing her memories? I'm telling you, Ibuki-san, it's the truth. Even if you keep pressing me, I can't give you a different answer. Anna's a good person. If we could help her, none of us would refuse her, and there's no way that any of us could have done anything to her. Ron pulled her bedsheets up further. She turned her face away, unwilling to look Miho in her eyes. I can't tell if she's lying or not, but it's clear that I can't get any more clues out of her at this point. In any case, I should speak with Miss Sakura again. Can't go wrong by familiarizing myself with her situation more. Hey, so what's with the murders? Why do you have to commit murders? Is there a point to it? About that, I feel like you're not gonna like the answer to that one. What's that supposed to mean? Because there's not really a reason, really. We weren't used to it at first, but now we've just accepted it. It's like how when you're in gym class, when there's a basketball, you play basketball, and when there's a track, you run laps. Cannot compare this to gym class. At least physical exercise helps support student fitness. In that case, would you feel better if I justified the murder cases as exercises to support the students' abilities to engage in deductive reasoning? But they can indeed say that they haven't hurt anyone because the victims ultimately reawaken unscathed anyways. About that, murder's like super fun. I love killing. Here I go killing again. And they're already used to it. They don't even seem to experience any psychological stress from it anymore. Ignoring their questionable choice to redefine their own moral compass, it seems like there's not actually anything wrong with mutually consensual murders like these, where the dead will revive anyway. There definitely feels like a little bit of the dang it grandpa, collusion and the same that it's a school killing game and everybody's just kind of okay with it, I guess. Murder is beneficial to student life. In this essay, I will. So I really do have to just accept that this is just another class that they're taking? Ron raised her head and sighed lightly. To hell with that, though. So what the fuck's going on here? Just why is this school so bizarre? I don't really understand this question. Is there something weird about the school? Is there anything normal about this school? Where are the teachers? The janitorial staff? If you live here, then where are you getting your food, daily necessities, water, and electricity from? Miho took a moment before answering. There are no teachers in the school. We've taken on the roles of teachers and staff ourselves. For example, I'm the school nurse, and Asakura-san handles maintenance. And the other 4 classmates of ours each handle one of the subjects and use the extra time after classes to prepare the curriculums. The daily supplies and food, as well as other necessities, were prepared for us when we first arrived at the school. So far, it doesn't look like we're going to run out anytime soon. But the tunnel's been blocked up for a year by now. Forget the daily necessities. You're really not worried about eating food that's been in the fridge for over a year now? We worried about it too before, but all the food has been fine. None of it's gone bad or anything. That's something that you should interrogate. And the quality of the ingredients are superb too. They even have those sugar apples that Aya and I love. They're not really rare or anything, but it's impressive that the school was able to stockpile a particular fruit in advance. It's a Montessori school. Food that doesn't rot. And you really call that ordinary food? I suppose if Miho is not lying to me, then she's not hiding anything, and this really is all she knows. Which is to say that someone other than the students is responsible for preparing the daily necessities of the school. Normally, this would appear quite normal, but a place like this is much more peculiar. For instance, how do the people who handle these logistics get in? How do they resupply without any of the students noticing, and why do they bother to conceal themselves? Maybe there's something like the Astro-Morticians, somehow able to appear and disappear undetected in the school. Place use supplies. Okay, alright, you said another completely insane thing like it was normal, Ron. I need to see what the hell an Astro-Mortician is. Let's be fair, if murder does no lasting harm, would you not? No, I'd totally play a murder game if, like, it was proven that there were no consequences in any way whatsoever. I would play a murder game for sure. The Astro-Morticians. A group of 5 anthropomorphs which wear 3rd-generation astronaut outfits. They appear in the vicinity of corpses which have died of certain causes of death, whose details have been lost due to Ron's memory loss, and cause all humans within a spherical area, 500 meters in radius, centered on that corpse, to experience sudden anoxic shock. Furthermore, the processor frequencies of electronic devices within the affected radius will also be reduced to less than 1/1,000,000,000th of their normal rate, and the affected region will enter a state of 0 gravity. The Astro-Morticians will then conduct mortuary processing of the corpse while still suspended in midair, including decontamination, physical restoration, and the application of makeup. After fully processing the corpse, they will clasp their hands and engage in prayer. 6 hours after manifesting, they will utilize safety ropes connected to the surface of the earth and pull themselves underground, after which they will demanifest. Ranabuki once communicated briefly with them, but because she was under extreme emotional stress at the time, she was unable to comprehend the information conveyed to her by the Astro-Morticians. I think it reads like a D&D spell because of all the really specific measurements of time. What the fuck? Ron? What the fuck? But if that's the case, then this school is exceptionally atypical. Just what was it that caused this place to become the focus of so many supernatural anomalies? Including even myself, I suppose, as someone who's been forced to focus on this place as well, due to Miss Sakura's presence here. Ron was immersed in her own thoughts, and Miho didn't interrupt her. What I need to focus on right now is Miss Sakura's amnesia problem. If the weirdness of the school has nothing to do with Miss Sakura's missing memories, then it's not my problem. They can do as they please. Ron surfaced from the lake of contemplation, prepared to ask the next question. Why are you sexually harassing me? Takei, have you known Toyama for a long time? Miho hadn't expected Ron to suddenly change topics like that. She furrowed her brow a bit. Yes? Why are you asking so suddenly? The way she speaks to you is unconventional, but the two of you seem to have an excellent relationship, so I'm a bit curious. What's unconventional supposed to mean? Ron noticed that Miho's disposition had changed. Where she had previously answered Ron's questions fluidly and calmly, now she seemed quite riled up. How do I put this? It seems excessively respectful. Miho folded her arms in front of her chest and leaned back in her chair. I'm sure you're imagining it. Aya's not so clever as to be able to hide her emotions like that. After she finished speaking, she lowered her arms and sat up straight. I'd rather not talk about ourselves anymore. Do you have anything else you want to ask about? Nope. The long sound of the end of class bell rang out over the intercom, and Ron shivered, raising her head to look toward the source of the sound. Miho tapped on her phone as she spoke. The morning classes are over, so I'm sending a text to the other students to let them know that they don't need to come by the infirmary, and they can head right back to the dorms if they want. Putting you on a drip was just an emergency measure. What you need most right now is a good meal. Miho stood up and stretched out a hand to Ron. You stand? I can get up on my own, thanks. Ron rose in the opposite direction as Miho, angling her back towards the student, took a seat at the edge of the bed. Can you give me some privacy? I'm going to change now. Oh, why be shy? It's not like anything I haven't seen by now. Miho! Stop! Miho smiled, but still turned and left the infirmary anyway and said something at the door. I'll be waiting for you outside. Ron gave her a non-committal response as she picked the notebook up from atop her clothes. Pulling in her legs, she hugged the notebook to her chest and shrank into a ball, her shoulders trembling. Goodness, finally found Miss Sakura. Miho, you gotta cool it. Ibuki-san, why don't you try some of this? Miho Takei had filleted a slice of meat off the grilled tuna and now set it onto Ron's plate. Ah, it's a bit salty. Let me get you some soup, too. It didn't take long for dinner time to come around once they'd returned to the dorms. Ron Ibuki, of course, naturally chose to sit next to Aunt Sakura. Miho was sitting diagonally opposite to Ron. It wasn't the most convenient angle for spoon-feeding Ron, but that didn't stop Miho from getting up and busying herself with Ron anyway. Miho, as a mother, you're not supposed to indulge your children too much, you know. Huh? Miho didn't understand the meaning of Sai's joke, and the hand she was using to serve food to Ron paused in the air. Can I have some too, Mommy? Aya playfully waved her empty bowl in front of Miho's face. You won't stop playing around, okay? Ibuki-san just finished resting. I was only helping serve her food because she needs it. Miho sat back down in her chair and ceased using her chopsticks, opting instead to use her expression to urge Ron to eat. Ibuki-san, how do you feel? Do you have an appetite? Sure, but... Ron looked at Sai, unable to hide her surprise. Can't believe that Yoruno handles the cooking. What? You don't want to eat it? No, it was just... Honestly, I figured you were like me, someone who only knew how to make instant noodles at best. Ron swallowed the tuna that Miho had served to her. The satisfying combination of salt, crisply grilled skin, and soft fish meat all combined into a brow-liftingly wonderful taste. Not only did Sai know how to cook, but she was good at it. It's pretty good. You don't need to praise me. Sai picked up her bowl, drinking some mussel soup from it. Sakura-san, here! Tama Indo had peeled some bamboo shrimp and had arranged them into a wave in the dish in front of her.
Shall I mix the soy sauce and vinegar for you?
Asakura nodded, and Tama rolled up her sleeves, reaching for the condiments at the center of the table. But she clearly couldn't actually reach them, and only after she made a few attempts did Koizumi notice Tama's awkward situation and help push the condiment rack towards her. Tama quickly thanked her and placed the condiment dishes on the plate with the bamboo shrimp before handing the whole thing to Asakura. My favorite knife got borrowed by Koizumi for murdering Sakura, so sorry if the knife work on the veggies is a little slipshod this time.
Sorry.
It's fine, I was too busy with cooking to clean it off. I'll wash and disinfect it after this, and so long as nothing's happening to the edge of the blade, it'll be right back in service. What? You're still gonna use it for cooking? That knife was used for murder. Come on, all it did was chop up Sakura's throat a little bit. Knives are designed to chop meat, you know? Soy sauce, rice, vinegar, chili oil, goated base sauce. Absolutely. That sounds great. Ron frowned and looked towards An, who didn't seem to see anything wrong with that statement. After noticing Ron's gaze, she turned her head slightly. Ron? She's so beautiful. How does your neck feel, Miss Sakura? Oh, it's feeling perfectly fine. This isn't the first time I've been killed, you know. Right. Yeah, Ron's not adaptable. That's for sure. After answering her, An turned and began chatting with Koizumi. Ron discovered that she had no idea what to say to An, a situation she'd never been in before, in all their time together. No matter what the circumstances, An had always been able to find a topic that Ron was interested in, so their conversation could continue. But now it seemed like the only things that they had to talk about were memories, disappearances, anomalous schools, heavy subjects like that which couldn't be called interesting at all. She looked all around, trying to find something to talk to An about, some light and pleasant content that she could use to regain the feelings they'd shared while they were dating. Soon she found something that was worth mentioning. Miss Sakura. But first, eavesdropping. Hinata, which box of bath salt should we use tonight?
How about the rose-scented one? We've got plenty of that one left.
Sure, let's go with that one. I've used up too much of the peach-scented one already.
Yuruno-san doesn't use the bath salts much. We could ask her for more if we ever run out.
Hey, Mr. Blood Sculptor is more interesting than the murder, I think. And Ron apparently has had contact with Mr. Blood Sculptor in the past. Ron right now, however, is a real wet blanket about the whole murder school stuff. What is it? There's a lot of green onions in your soup. Shall I pick them out for you? An blinked twice in quick succession. Why would that be necessary? Because, well, you've never liked them, have you? Back when we used to have dinner together, you'd always pick the green onions out of your food. No, I quite like the way they taste, actually. An set her chopsticks down. The An Sakura you're talking about is the one from your memories, isn't it? Yes, but you're supposed to be Miss Sakura. An looked silently down at the green onions floating in her soup as she held her bowl with both hands.
Sakura-san, is something wrong?
An shook her head, and then, taking the soup spoon, she quietly picked all the green onions out of the bowl. You're right. I should do my best to be more like An Sakura. Ron wanted to tell her that she didn't want the amnesiac An to do that, but she couldn't bring herself to say it aloud. Why do they have the Wadjet eye on their, jacket breasts? An and, Ron both have it.
After lunch was over, the students began cleaning up the bowls and chopsticks, and Ron stood to speak to An. Miss Sakura, we should find a private place, and speak properly.
Things were a lot better for Sakura when she was dead and didn't have this clingy weirdo following her around constantly.
Not now. We're about to draw the lots. An carried her bowl to the sink, and Ron quickly followed. Miss Sakura, you should just ignore all of this. What we should be focusing on, together, is getting your memory back, and then leaving this place. An put her bowl in the sink and turned the faucet on. She stared at the stream of water, saying nothing. Miss Sakura, have you found a way for me to return to being An Sakura again? Not yet. An shut the faucet off, the handle emitting a dull, turning sound. Then, let's continue as usual for now. It might be meaningful for you to observe how we've been living so far.
It's a red flag for sure, at least, Morrissey. An, Ibuki! Ibuki-san, hurry up!
Next to the cleaned-off table, Miho called to them. An raised her hand in response to Miho's call and turned to Ron. Let's go. Ron nodded and followed An, watching her from behind. The current Miss Sakura is extremely different from how I remember her. Let's start by understanding the environment she's been in here. Don't be impatient. Compared to the 4 years I've spent searching, this is nothing. Not to mention, Miss Sakura is right by my side. Ron approached the dinner table where 8 face-down cards were already scattered. So, by drawing lots, you're talking about drawing from these.
That's right. There's 2 rounds. First, we decide on the culprit, then on the victim. Right now, of the 8 cards, 7 of them are white, and only 1 of them is red, which represents the culprit. Try drawing one.
Oh, I actually need to pick one. Oh, no! Do I just go for the one in the middle? Trust?
It doesn't matter. I'm taking that one. Oh, shit! Ron took a card and was immediately dazzled by its scarlet underside.
Go ahead.
Ron didn't try to hide the emotions on her face at all, drawing everyone else's attention to her. Then she threw the card which represented her culprit right onto the table. I'm not going to kill anybody. Let's draw again. You sure are just flagrantly violating the rules, huh? You can say whatever you want, but I'm not going to kill anybody. Since Ibuki-san has already revealed her card, we're going to have to redraw no matter what. Whether or not you're willing to be the culprit, you may be selected as the victim, or be forced to prove your own innocence if you are suspected of being the culprit. Is that okay? Ron nodded. So long as she could avoid the worst-case scenario, that'd be enough. As for not being killed and proving her own innocence, she was confident that she could accomplish those things trivially. Let's restart the drawing, then. I'm gonna draw the same one. Ron took a card. Its underside wasn't painted red. Thank goodness I didn't draw the culprit card again. Ron flipped the card over and looked at the back. Very abstract patterns. All I can tell is that there's stars and stuff. Then she surreptitiously observed the others' expressions, wondering if the person who drew the culprit card might let something slip by their reactions. They all seem quite well practiced. Right. Everyone put your cards away and let's start the second round. Miho set out 8 new cards, which didn't look any different from the previous ones. Ibuki-san, each of these cards has one of the students' names written on it. Once the culprit draws... Once the culprit draws it, the name on the card will become her target. What? That doesn't make... Wait, there's 8 cards for this too? Is my name on there as well? We have plenty of spare cards, so I wrote your name on one just now. So so everybody picks one. So they all know one person that the victim isn't. What happens if the culprit draws their own name? Do they have to kill themselves?
So you're signing me up for this just like that, huh?
Of course! We'd never think to exclude you from our school activities, Ibuki-san.
Under the table, Ron tugged at the hem of her skirt with her right hand. And... very well. I'll draw as well. Wait, hang on. What happens if the murderer pulls her own name?
Hey! If such a situation occurs, then the murderer may choose anybody she likes to become her target.
Oh, it's a wild card. Alright. Oh, I see. Ron wasn't sure whether she should ask the next question or not, but ultimately decided to speak anyways. So the culprit can also commit suicide.
Yes. So even if you're not the killer, you can't easily exclude the name that you drew as a potential victim either. All that can be said is that the probability of such a thing is greatly reduced.
I wonder if we'll explore those technicalities immediately after I asked them. I guess I get it. Let's start then. And which card should I draw? I'm gonna draw the same one every time. Miho Takei. Ron took a card. Miho Takei was written on it. Miho, huh? Toyama would probably be the first to rush. Would probably rush to be the first to protect her.
Alright, that's that. Everyone please keep hold of the cards securely yourself.
We keep our cards ourselves? So if the culprit wanted, they could go and privately exchange cards with other people to select her target to some degree? Perhaps that's what happened in previous cases where they mentioned the involvement of accomplices. But it breaks the rule where the culprit can only kill a specific target. Even if the culprit is caught, so long as she refuses to speak, the others wouldn't be able to know that she'd actually swapped cards. And since the dead can be revived, in theory, the culprit could even kill everybody, besides the target first. Ron licked her lips, tasting a bit of leftover salt from the tuna. Well, it wouldn't be a police procedural then, it'd be a B-movie slasher flick.
Then the drawing of lots is concluded. The rest of the afternoon will be free activities. It's our turn to do the dishes today. Come over here.
Coming. Ron slipped her card into her pocket and caught up to An, who was just about to head upstairs. Miss Sakura, let's find somewhere to have a proper conversation. An had already placed a foot on the steps leading to the second floor. I still need to prepare for tomorrow's classes. Let's talk about this later. Preparing for classes? That's nowhere near as important, right? Why don't you take a stroll around the school? You'll be living here for quite a while, after all. Absolutely not, Miss Sakura. I'll find a way to restore your memories very quickly, for sure. Then we'll go home together. An nodded, but didn't respond to Ron's words and headed up the stairs by herself. Guess I'll look around the school for a bit. If there's enough time left, I'll go check out the tunnel then. Okay. I'm gonna go to the thing. I'm gonna do the thing where I run ads, because that's gonna prevent the pre-roll. So we got 3 minutes of ads that we're gonna have in the middle. But yeah. This is interesting. I'm having a good time figuring out what's going on here. I always do like the moments in mysteries and things like that where you can say, like, you know, I have a question, and then immediately that question is also asked in game. I guess I have 3 times here, and I can only go hang out with 4 people. We'll get back to that after the ads, however. It really does. I have a habit of asking a question and then somebody in universe asking the exact same question immediately. That up. Hey. I hope everyone is having a good Thursday. I hope everyone is enjoying these games as well. I have an idea that I potentially want to explore at some point in the future, which is I may try and have, if people are into it, other guests who may read on stream with me. Not certain of that yet, but Scoop, I may tap you at some point to join me. I imagine you would have an interest with that, but I can certainly think of others. I know I want to broach the subject to Elfie also, but other folks who want to do little read-alongs or act alongside. That's something that I might be exploring in the future. Because I think that would be fun, having somebody to act off of here and there. Yes, I understand that it's going to be a sometimes thing, for sure. We'll figure it out, definitely. But it's something that I'm thinking about exploring down the line. To add some fun variation to the stream as well. All right, that's the ads. Which means, back here, yet again. Okay, so we have a few people to hang out with. It looks as though we have 3 times, and it costs 1 for each. So I think, especially since we're hanging out with specific people here, we should figure out who we want to spend time with. So Tama Indo is the shrine girl, and Asakura is the weird British one. Toyama's the stoner. Koizumi's the one who did the murder. Miho's the sex pest, and Sayurina's our roommate. Let's follow Miho. Let's start with Miho. So I wound up coming back to the dorms after all. Go look for Miss Sakura on the 2nd floor, or investigate the sounds coming from the kitchen. Ron noticed that there were noises coming from the kitchen. Apparently someone was cutting vegetables. There's someone in the kitchen? Is it Yuruno? Ron stepped into the kitchen, only to be greeted with Miho Takei's back. She was bent over at the waist, focusing intently on chopping potatoes, her face almost pressed up against the cutting board. Even so, the reluctant potato chunks were all wildly different from each other in size and shape. Ah, so even someone like Miho has something she's bad at. Very different from Miss Sakura. Miho, are you trying to double duty as both nurse and chef? Canonical round will only choose options that involve creepily following Sakura around the house. I did think about just immediately defying Sakura, being like, I would like to be alone to work for things, and going right there, but let's not do the obviously incorrect decision first. Miho's shoulders shook for a moment. She set down the kitchen knife and wiped sweat off her face as she turned around. Ibuki-san! What are you doing here? I heard the sound, so I came by to check it out. I thought cooking was Yuruno's job. It is, but I also want to learn to cook as well, so I've been asking Yuruno-san for her instruction. She really is quite good at cooking. Yeah, she is. Her menu's a bit heavy on the seafood, though. Maybe she really is secretly a fish in disguise or something. Your jokes are even worse than Asakura-san's jokes. Ron wanted to change the topic to something other than her poor comedy skills, so she spoke. So why are you trying to learn to cook, anyway? It's not like Yuruno is having trouble with the workload of the school. I'm just planning for the future. There's no way Aya's gonna put in the effort to learn this stuff, so eventually I'm gonna have to do all her cooking for her. Eh? Eventually? Ron couldn't quite follow what Miho was talking about. What eventually?
after college graduation. Once we graduate, I'm sure we'll wind up living together with Aya. Miho gave a single laugh after she finished. Come on, that's a bit distant, isn't it? Still 5 years until then. Who knows where we'll all be in 5 years. No matter what, I'm gonna be with Aya. So, it's best to start preparing for it as soon as possible. It'll be too late to start preparing once it's actually time. Not just for something as minor as cooking, but so many other things as well. I have a hard time imagining how Ron won't be the immediate next murder victim. She solved the last one, plus experience the death thing will probably mellow her out on it. Yeah, I think you're probably right. But I also think it's going to be very interesting because I do think that Ronald is going to defend herself. For sure. And I'm really curious what happens if you kill the murderer in a scuffle. And I bet we're going to find that out at some point along this, if the victim kills the murderer in defense. It'll be too late to start preparing once it's actually time. Not just for something as minor as cooking, but for so many other things as well. Miho gently caressed the edge of the stove with her hands as she lowered her head. I hope Aya can come to the realization in time as well. If I were you, I'd live a bit more in the present and focus on the things in front of you right now, such as... Ron pointed at the potatoes on the cutting board. Those potatoes. Word of advice. You should peel the potatoes before you start chopping them. Ow. Right. Oh, Miho. Bad job, girl. Let's go hang out with Aya. Let's go hang out with her girlfriend. Ron was wandering through the corridors when she suddenly heard the sound of a guitar coming from a side room. Ron pulled open the door to the music room, and the guitar trailed off immediately. What? Ron-chan? Did you come all the way here just to listen to me play? Aya Toyama loosened her grip on the guitar strings and lowered it to her lap. I heard in the classroom that you knew how to play the guitar, so I came to check it out. It didn't sound bad, I guess. What a backhanded compliment. What? Come on. Don't you get the vibe that I'm like an absolute rock star just by looking at me? Huh? I don't really know how that kind of vibe would look, so no. Shit, it was a joke. You weren't supposed to take it that seriously, Ron-chan. Now I'm the one that's feeling awkward. Aya was carelessly strumming chords as she spoke, though it seemed like she'd turned off the guitar amplifier after Ron came in, since the guitar was only letting out dry twangs now. So, do you want to take a break? I want to talk business with you. Next time, maybe. I want to focus on practicing for now. I'm pretty lackadaisical usually, but I'm pretty serious when it comes to the guitar, so I want to spend a bit more time with it. Okay. Really figured she'd readily say sure, and put the guitar right aside. Let's give it a second shot. I'm honestly jealous of how you've got something you love this much. I thought you'd reunited with your beloved Miss Sakura and all that. Seeing Miss Sakura who's lost her memories, it fills me with pain and confusion more than anything else. Aya stuck out her lower lip and made an exaggerated shrug. Is that so? Well, it looks like she really does want to get back to her guitar. Well, you have fun. I'll be going now. Bye. Alright, we got one more. Let's go hang out with Yuruno. I like Yuruno. She's a fish woman, apparently. Ron wandered to the swimming pool, just in time to see Sai rise from the water. She swished her hair around, letting the droplets dance on the pool's surface. Then she raised her hand, brushing aside the strands of hair that had stuck to her nose and met Ron's eyes. Sai gave her a grin and pulled her swimming goggles down to her neck. She drifted to the edge of the pool and waved hello at Ron. Oh, hey! I didn't think you had the free time to visit the pool. All to visit little old me.
Just presume that I'm bored. I have nothing better to do. Sai let her body float freely, holding onto the side of the pool with her arms. Might as well spend some time talking to her. Ron bent over, took off her shoes and socks, and sat at the edge of the pool. She dipped her feet into the water and swung them around gently. So, Urano.
Come on, don't me. If you've got something to say, then say it.
Don't rush me. Ron lifted her head toward the sky, thinking that perhaps the rain would start soon. Though even if it rained, I'm pretty sure Urano would still stay in the pool. Urano, about the argument we had with each other yesterday in the old showers, and how I even shoved you. Sorry about that. Seeing Ron's earnest expression, Sai struggled to hold in her laughter as she spoke.
I'll forgive you. You come down for a swim.
Hell no, it's way too cold.
Not like you've tried it yet. Just give it a shot. You'll definitely love it.
Absolutely not. Sai laughed, ripples of water spreading out from her trembling shoulders.
Hearing you say it like that just makes me more confident. My little sister had the same reaction as you, but afterwards she got addicted to cold water swimming as well.
Exactly like in the recall. And then I'd have to get out of here before you pulled me into the water. Should I ask her about Miss Sakura in the school? Maybe there's a chance she'll answer differently from Decay. Ron considered it, but before she could ask, Sai herself spoke first.
Ibuki, Sakura's very important to you, isn't she?
Ominous, thank you for the subscription. I very much appreciate the support. Ominous, yeah. Well, of course. Important is just a mere word, though. She's more important to me than you can imagine. After all, whether something is important or not can only be established by comparison with other things. And to me, Miss Sakura is simply everything. There's nothing comparable.
Wow, that's cheesy. Get a room.
Sai idly pushed off from the edge of the pool, floated on the water.
I remember that I had something extremely important I had to do as well. Can't remember it clearly, though.
Huh? You've got memory loss issues, too?
Nah, it's not the same kind as Sakura's. It's more the kind of forgetting that happens when too much time has passed.
What, there's something even more important to you than swimming? Sai didn't answer, and merely let the water of the pool lap over her face. He looks a bit melancholy. Awkward. I don't have the charisma for that, unless I want to use my temporary points. Which I think I have 4 of. Let's hoard them for now. I don't want to not have them later. Sai slowly let herself sink, her form blurring under the water, and Ron felt like there was something she needed to say to her. But I don't know her that well. There's nothing for me to say. Oh, right. I saw Takei chopping some potatoes at the dorms just now. You said you were teaching her how to cook. Sai surfaced from the water and swung her head to face Ron.
Yeah? What about it?
I'm just saying. She tried to chop the potatoes without even peeling them. I feel like you've got a long road ahead of you if you really plan on training her into a chef. Sai laughed, perching on the edge of the pool.
She's honestly not chef material. I'm just doing the best I can.
Ron nodded, and, after saying farewell to Sai, departed from the swimming pool. And I'm out of time. I miss Sakura. Dinner time came as scheduled. In a change from noon, there was no sign of any seafood anywhere this time. Various platter arrangements of vegetable greens and sliced ham had replaced them. Yeah, I don't know why they're really obsessed about this peeling potato thing, but maybe it was for something specific that they didn't provide context with. I have to assume that that's the case. Like, if I were making a curry, for instance, I would not leave the skin on them. I would peel it. Ron didn't have the heart to enjoy the fine cuisine, though, because Ann and Koizumi were whispering with each other about something. Ron kept trying her best to get Ann's attention, but the few words she managed to get in were like pebbles thrown into a pond, making only the tiniest of splashes. Ron is so type A they need to invent a new lower letter in the alphabet to describe her. Type 0. Finally, after dinner ended, Ron managed to get a hold of Ann. Miss Sakura, do we finally have time to talk properly now? Koizumi said she needed you for something. Why don't you two have a chat first? Class president? She can wait. Our conversation is far more important. No, you need to hear her out first. Koizumi didn't tell me what she wanted, but she was afraid you'd reject her, so she asked me to convey the message to you. Ann lifted a hand and gently placed it against Ron's cheek. Yeah, she does not want to talk to us. Can't imagine why. We've been nothing but not incredibly creepy to her. Hear her out, please. Sakura. Okay. Got it. Good. Hurry then. There's another set of stairs on the second floor. If you take a right turn, if you go up from there, you'll reach the upstairs viewing deck. Koizumi's waiting for you up there now. Okay. Miss Sakura, please wait for me in your room. I'll come to find you as soon as I'm done chatting with the class president. Ann stuck a finger into Ron's hair and gently nuzzled Ron's head like she was encouraging Ron. See you later. Can't wait to find out that, like, Sakura will be dead again. Koizumi drew the murder again and is going to try to kill Ron here. Following Ann's instructions, Ron found her way to the viewing deck. After pushing open the door, she found Koizumi there waiting for her. Interacting with Ron has to be kind of miserable. Ibuki-san. Koizumi got up from the chair where she'd been waiting for Ron and approached her slowly. Sakura's the murderer and Ron's the victim. Ooh, that'd be interesting. That'd be an interesting pull for this one. I feel like they're gonna do that at some point for sure, but I feel like it's not gonna be this one. I feel like this one's gonna be a weirder one to kind of get your like understanding of how the game's gonna go. So it's gonna be like Tama killing Aya or something like that. I don't know. I do think you're right, Scoop, that is gonna happen for sure. I just am skeptical that it'll be the first one. But if you're right, hell yeah. Also, I agree with Morrissey. Please. Please. No, it's fine. Please remain seated. There's many things I'd like to chat with you about regarding the Sakura. There's no need for that. It'll be over very soon. Ron tensed at those words. Ron had envisioned a scenario where the two of them sat on chairs a respectable distance from each other to discuss Ann's situation. Sakura's very wishes is the best way she could deliver a gentle breakup, a murder game in a pocket dimension. Afterwards, over pleasant conversation, Ron's understanding of the amnesiac Ann would deepen, and that would help her find a way to rebuild her connection with her love. This was not the kind of atmosphere that led to that outcome, Ron was pretty sure. Class President, what are you doing? Ibuki-san. Considering her usual disposition, Koizumi must have rehearsed this moment many times. Ibuki-san, I like you. Would you go out with me? Ron frowned. She couldn't understand what Koizumi was thinking. Surely Koizumi knew exactly what kind of answer she was going to receive after her confession. Class President. Wait, Ibuki-san. Koizumi had reverted to her usual timid state. In fact, she was acting even more nervous than usual. Her calm demeanor just now had exhausted every last bit of her energy, it seemed. She was having trouble controlling even her expressions now, but she struggled on, trying to get all the words she wanted to say out. I know that you've only got eyes for Miss Sakura, or for Sakura-san, but please let me attempt to do something as well. I want to protect you. You want to protect me? From what exactly do you want to protect me? Ron, watching Koizumi struggle to catch her breath, couldn't help but think that Koizumi was the one who needed to be protected, not herself. When we get killed, we revive. But that might not be the case for you, Ibuki-san. If the other students don't think about it, they might go right for you. If they draw you as the victim, or maybe they'll kill you just to prevent you from investigating the crime scene. If that happens, you might just die for real. That is true. I may indeed get killed, and it might turn out to be impossible to revive me. But I can take care of myself. You cannot protect me. And even if I decided I wanted to accept your protection, that doesn't mean that I need to date you. Right, but Sakura-san doesn't remember you right now, and I'm worried that you'll do something drastic. Even if it's just temporarily, you can rely on me. Ron had no idea why Koizumi had decided to treat Ron like this. It wasn't like the two of them had interacted that much yet. Absolutely not. The only one that I'd ever rely on is Miss Sakura. If that's all you had to say, then I'll be leaving now. It doesn't look like we can have a proper conversation about Miss Sakura right now, with the state you're in. Ibuki-san, please wait. Confessing to you is the first time I've ever chosen to do something of my own volition. You could tell, right? I'm completely indecisive. And even in class, it's Takei-san who makes all the decisions. So, Please, stop, Class President. This kind of nonsense is the thing that I hate the most. What the hell do you even mean? This is the first time you've made a choice of your own volition. Do you volitionally eat food, volitionally shower, and volitionally sleep every damn day, don't you? Look, I get the point. You're trying to say that you can't find the determination to make decisions on many things that are important to you, but it's got nothing to do with me. Goodbye. Ron departed the viewing deck, stepping toward the deserted hallway. After encountering An, Ron had changed significantly, and one of those changes was that she decided that there really weren't many things she needed to concern herself with. Only An Sakura, and the one who searched for An Sakura on her own. Herself, in other words. That was weird. It did really seem like it came out of fucking nowhere. Miss Sakura, are you there? Ron lightly knocked on the door and quickly heard a response. She turned the handle, opening the door and entering the room. You finished your conversation with Koizumi? Oh, yes. Okay, take a seat then. An sat at the side of the bed and patted the empty spot next to herself. Finally, we can have a proper conversation, Miss Sakura. Where's Koizumi right now? Why is her first concern still the class president? She said she wasn't going to come down until later. Did you tell her not to come back? Ron felt An tighten her grip on Ron's hand forcefully. There was, once again, an expression on An's face that she'd never seen before. Miss Sakura's mad at me? Over someone else? Miss Sakura, is Koizumi really what we should be focusing on right now? She's a mere outsider. The relationship you and I have isn't as simple as mere dating. It's the kind of relationship that no outsider can possibly interfere with. Miss Sakura, please stop paying so much attention to others from now on. Ron, I don't have any memories. Right now, it should be obvious who exactly is important to me and who is an outsider to me. I hope you can understand that. I don't understand. No, all I understand is that An should treat me the way I treat you and be the same to me as... Ron's heartbeat and breathing almost instantly shot up to the limits of her ability to bear. If the person who could most effectively soothe her symptoms was An Sakura, then the person who could most effectively trigger those symptoms was also An Sakura. Ron, calm down. An reached out and clasped Ron's right hand tightly with her own. Ron, You know that I'm not admonishing you. You know that you're just throwing a tantrum too, don't you? Ron closed her eyes and lowered her head. Her feelings and condition quickly calmed down. As long as Miss Sakura is speaking, no illusion or suffering can touch me. That's right. This feeling right now is all I've ever wanted. If I can be by Miss Sakura's side, that'll be enough. I'm sorry, Miss Sakura. I shouldn't have demanded that the present you hold any sort of extreme feelings for me at the moment. I was wrong. I'll go apologize to the class president too later. That's more like it, Ron. The priority right now is to get you your memories back. Then we can start discussing what happened between you and the school, Miss Sakura. I'll try my hardest to come up with a solution. Okay, I believe in you. Ron tightly held onto An's hand as tears began forming again. But I feel awful, Miss Sakura. I can't bear the fact that you don't remember me anymore. Ron's anguish reflected itself in An's eyes, but An seemed at a loss to help Ron. I'm sorry. Is there anything I can do for you? Miss Sakura used to pat my head when I cried before. She'd rub my head until I stopped crying. Miss Sakura, can you help me the way that you used to? An looked down at her hands and hesitated. She knew that all Ron was really looking for was on Sakura's face. But she still nodded and gently pulled Ron down to lie in her lap. Then she stroked Ron's head with her hands. Ron closed her eyes and let the sounds of the sea and wind fill her ears. Wave after wave, swishing and swishing. Miss Sakura, I'm right here. Sakura, yes, I'm right here.
You came back real quick, and I expected you to stay in Sakura's room overnight. What, did Sakura dump you or something?
No, I just thought that maybe you'd still be swimming and I could have the room all to myself for a while.
How unfortunate for you that I saw your breakup coming, and thus chose not to go swimming so that I could be right here to comfort you on your return.
Ron laughed at that. She wasn't imagining it. For some reason, she found being around Sayuruno to be relaxing. Anyway, now that we've drawn lots, a death could occur at any time, right? Doesn't feel any different from usual, though.
Well, everyone's used to it now. What were you imagining, exactly?
Ron sat down in a chair and crossed her arms over her chest. Well, I don't know. Something like everyone being very tense, making sure nobody can sneak up on them, being super jumpy about any unexpected noises, that sort of thing.
Sounds like that one movie, Battle Royale.
Yeah, a bit.
Hey, if you're still anxious, you could go look around the dorms for a while yet. Night's still young. There was that one time Asakura drew herself as the culprit and killed herself. So who knows? Maybe if you go looking, you'll find her dangling from the rafters somewhere or another.
For some reason, when Sai said that, Ron felt a brief pulse of pain from behind her eyes, but it passed in an instant. Wow. So someone actually did try that. So Asakura was the culprit, and Asakura herself was also the victim?
Yeah, that case was so stressful for Indo, though. Though, in the end, she was also the one who figured out Asakura's faked murder scene out, so that Asakura could come back to life.
I can imagine how anxious Indo would have been in a situation like that, yes.
Well, she's pretty funny when she's freaking out, too. Anyway, if you're going to go take another stroll, don't stray far. It's not quite safe at night.
I don't know if Battle Royale was the first, but I am pretty sure it was sort of the first that was, like, popularized. It was like the watershed killing game trope. What threat is she talking about exactly when she says that it's not safe? I don't know, Ron, the fucking murderer? Alright, sure.
And don't forget to take a bath after you're done.
I only wiped your body and hair down a bit after you got drenched. Ron instinctively covered her chest with her hands at Sai's words. Oh. Got it. By the way, your tits are huge. Who the hell said you could look? Ron stood up and quickly left the room. Everyone here is a sex pest. Everyone here is very toxic to each other. Let's figure out where I'm going. What are the others up to? Indo and Asakura, Sakura and Koizumi, or Takei and Toyama? Well, Takei and Toyama. Ron knocked on the door to Miho and Aya's room. Coming! Aya jogged to the door and opened it. Oh, a rare guest.
Is it Ibuki-san?
Miho had come to the door as well. Aya took the opportunity to lean backwards into her, conveniently resting her head against Miho's chest.
Let it out. Ibuki-san, is something the matter?
No, I'm just looking around. After all, a murder could take place at any moment. I've got to make early preparations. Oh, how diligent of you. Not bad, not bad. It's just in case.
I think that you're doing the right thing, Ibuki-san, though it's vanishingly unlikely that a murder will take place in the dorms.
I suppose that's true. After all, everyone knows where everyone else is supposed to be, and it's too easy for us to run into each other. Miho nodded, her hands resting lightly on Aya's shoulders.
Mm-hmm. Right now, everybody's either using the showers or sitting around in their room. There's only one room to the bathroom, but it's pretty big. When we wash up, we tend to pair ourselves off by our dorm rooms. Speaking of which, don't forget to take a bath, Ibuki-san. After all, you got drenched today.
Yeah, I'll go in a bit. I won't disturb you too any further. Bye. Bye-bye. Oh, I can go downstairs, too. What else can I see down here? I can go to the kitchen, the shower room, the tool room. The tool room? I'm not going to go be a weird creep about the showers. Deep within the first floor, Ron discovered a door. Curious, she approached the door and discovered a lock upon it. Now this, I will use a temporary point on. I think, yeah, I only need one. It's locked? This is the first time I've seen a locked door here, I think. Ron reached out and lifted the door lock and illuminated the keyhole with the light of her phone. Oh, it's an old-fashioned model, too. Let's give it a shot. Ron looked around and ran over to the kitchen, where she used a pair of scissors to cut a bit of the stainless steel sponge off. Then she wove them together and pulled it into a wire. This should do it. This kind of lock should be easy for me to open. Ron bent over and inserted the wire she'd made from the stainless steel sponge into the keyhole, paying attention to the delicate sensations coming from her fingertips. Soon she found the correct direction. Excellent. The lock folded, slumping over like a deflated balloon. Ron proceeded to push the door open. She reached out and felt around for a light switch, but she couldn't find it, so she gave up on that. It turned out that this was a cramped tool shed full of various kinds of maintenance tools. There was no lack of large devices that Ron couldn't even name, as well as plenty of ropes, ladders, and the like. What? Come on. It was just a place to dump all this stuff? I bet the key's with Asakura. They probably keep this place locked to prevent accidents from happening. Ron took a step back and closed the door, and clicked the lock back into place. We're not going to talk about the really weird, like, Illuminati-ass symbol on the fucking lock? Ron soaked in the water and raised her hands into a lazy stretch. The bathroom's a bit rustic, but it's quite nice to have a soak in. Warning, anime, warning. And there's traces of some kind of fragrance, too. Oh, it's probably Sakura's group used some kind of fragrant additive or something. I know Miho likes to use that kind of thing. What is this, a vacation getaway? Actually, we've got some in our room too. I've just never bothered with it. Huh. Ron nodded along casually, immersed her shoulders in the hot water as well. Feels like today the tub's particularly full. Is it because your giant chest is displacing all the water? Anime! What the hell are you even talking about? Ron turned away to avoid making eye contact with Sai. Just take your damn bath and don't make it weird. And to think I wanted to have a serious conversation with you for once. Go ahead then. Sai smiled as she leaned on the side of the bathtub. Probably just something to do with Sakura anyways. Well, of course. For all, I don't understand the current Miss Sakura. How do you all feel about her? Nothing special, really. Mostly that she's a decent person who gets along pretty well with her roommate Koizumi. Though sometimes it's hard to understand what she's thinking. After all, having total amnesia, but never once expressing concern over it all, just makes it even stranger. Well, yeah, she's Miss Sakura after all. I've never seen her panic, ever. You're making her sound like she's some kind of goddess. Now I'm curious, what kind of person was on before? That's a secret for me to keep all to myself, and I am not telling anyone. With a sweeping gesture, Sai splashed some water onto Ron's face. Hey, cut it out! Sai gave no response, and continued splashing water at Ron. How old are you? Ron blocked with one hand and launched counter splashes back at Sai with the other. But Sai submerged into the water and quickly slipped behind Ron's back, and, as if she was conjuring up a great tsunami, made a grand gesture with both arms that swallowed Ron in a wall of water. Ron coughed and leaned on the side of the pool to catch her breath. That's enough! Sai laughed raucously before she replied. That's what you get for asking me all these questions, and then not answering the ones I asked you. Whatever. Ron pushed her body up and left the bathtub, shaking the water off her hair forcefully and sending droplets everywhere. I'm done washing. You have fun splashing your water around like a kid. Hey, no need to rush. I'm almost done. Let's leave together, otherwise it'll make trouble for the people coming after us. How about you stop making trouble for me first? Can we get to the murder? Can we do the murder? Ron Ibuki slept well. The hot bath that she'd taken and An's ministrations on her had both been quite effective. But there was a certain something outside of the room that had come to disrupt her hard-worn rest. An eldritch presence continually grew, and nameless chaos was slowly writhing in the hallways at that very moment. Permeating through Ron Ibuki's brain with my own will, I opened her eyes. I had foregone awakening for so long, it caused my vision to blur. I laid on the bed and flexed a finger, and experimentally pulled her legs in. No problem. Her eyes have changed colors. At an unthinkably even rate, the door to the room opened, and I focused my undivided attention on the darkness beyond that threshold. A pale white form had appeared in the ink-black corridors from out of nothing. I wasn't able to perceive just how it had approached the gate. It might be the scribbles. It might be something else, though, because the scribbles seem to possess her in a different way. Yeah, also, what the fuck is this thing? I wasn't able to perceive just how it had approached the gate. I couldn't help but clutch the headboard of the bed with my hands, wary of the being's next moves. It was massive in size. Its progressive gait was like that of a growing plant. From the darkness, it penetrated into the room, advancing bit by bit. Soon, its low, quiet mutterings and gibberings seemed to become a mist that enveloped the whole room. Listening carefully to those quiet whisperings, I finally heard its origin clearly. It was the sound of celestial bodies ears, the sound of stars being born and destroyed in an instant, the cacophony of the universe's endless expansion, and the sound of its weeping. I sat up on the bed and looked towards it. The fierce desire and joy it emanated was like the heart-throbbing joy I felt when I first met Ranibuki, facing the beloved child of the mother of humanity. We can only be inescapably pulled in. It dragged its body into the room, its sculpted thorax hunched, stared at me. Who are you?
This query is one that I should be asking of you, but you have already illuminated my more critical bewilderment.
Its voice appeared within my consciousness, in a language which I could understand.
I seek but cannot find the memories of Anne Sakura, and I have no recourse but to seal Ranabuki away in this broken world.
Its speech was seemingly bent to some bizarre rhythm. The phrasing it used were invariably twisted. An organ, like a distended eyeball, which apparently served as the being's head, turned to face me. It glimmered with specks of inorganic light. Its heaving back ran nearly parallel with the ceiling, and the conglomerate of spherical masses that made up its lower half clung tightly to the ground. Two long, dangling arms, dense with muscle, drooped powerlessly to the floor. Yeah, this is some real normal shit. I looked towards the upper bunk. Sayuruno showed no signs of waking up anytime soon. Perhaps she couldn't perceive these sounds, or perhaps it wasn't allowing Sayuruno to awaken. What do you intend to do to Ranibuki?
We are kindred?
From the perspective of the mother of humanity, we are indeed kindred. But I know not from whence you originate. In terms of fundamental nature, we may be quite dissimilar.
In the eyes of the mother, you and I are alike. Then you must surely understand my thoughts and motives.
Oh, are these the time worms? The spinners? Or the silkworms? I see. Your kind are always like this. Ranabuki merely wants to be together with Aunt Sakura. Why do you persistently hinder her in this? This is no hindrance. You crave the mother's beloved child. In this you are like us. I'm tired of cupping my mouth every time. From that statement, it was obvious that it was this being which had brought Ranabuki here. And it had no intention to let Ron leave. No matter what your intent is, trapping Ranabuki here and forcing her to remain by your side is nothing but a waste of effort. She has to help you, her own will for it to mean anything. This place is the heaven that belongs to her. I hope for her eternal companionship. Suddenly, it tilted its body forward, and its featureless head closed in towards me once more. I understand the laws, Nurse. Nothing may be forcibly claim her. I have also left for her a path to depart from here. Originally, I believed that the closest one to her was you, the one who most could lay claim on her was you, but in fact you are counted as the most distant from her. Only if she slumbers, or if her brain ceases consciousness, or if her soul and physical body were separated, can you quietly manifest in the world. Its voice wasn't particularly emotionally charged. Perhaps it wasn't even attempting to provoke me. but just expressing what it considered to be a simple fact. At least I've always been by Ranibuki's side. I will protect her, and since you've constructed this stage, you shouldn't disrupt the rules yourself. Stay away from Ran, and let her make the decision herself. I will only protect her, and ensure that when she makes her decision, that nobody can stop her. It seemed to have nothing more to say. It began retreating, in a way that looked as if it was just rewinding the process through which it had sprouted into this room, a film played in reverse. Bit by bit, it was sucked into the darkness outside the room's door, its featureless head staring at me the entire time. Or rather, I should say, towards Ranibuki's body. After it was swallowed by the darkness, the door to the room closed by itself without a single sound. I went back to bed, hugging my shoulders tightly. I took a deep breath and hungrily buried myself in the sensations of physical contact with Ranibuki. I needed it badly. Good night, Ranibuki. I closed her eyes and returned her body to her.
Yeah, what a very specific checklist. I'm certain that we'll never see this strange creature again. Anyway, back to totally normal times.
Ran opened her eyes, gentle sunlight illuminating the whole dormitory, but she immediately shut her eyes again, rejecting the comforting light. Mood. Here it is again. My eyes hurt so much. Ran closed her eyes shut, squeezing a few tears out of their corners, and tried to raise her right hand. I can't raise it. Fine, then. She relaxed completely, focusing only on keeping her thoughts active. Whenever I took command of her body after she fell asleep, Ran always woke afterwards with sore eyes and delayed nervous reaction speeds. This usually lasted around 10 or so minutes. It was like sleep paralysis.
So it's her sleep paralysis demon. The narrator is her sleep paralysis demon that takes over her body. The narrator has become a character. Which means we no longer can trust anything that the narrator says. Interesting.
Well, might as well think about what I am going to do today while I'm recuperating. The murder has yet to take place, and the class president said that the last time was a particularly quick case. Probably their usual pace is much slower. Not only will there be all kinds of personal matters getting in the way, but they'll probably also need to spend some time figuring out a method and then wait for the right opportunity.
Okay, if you guys are playing killing games like this, do you not have like 18,000 scenarios that you want to like deploy as soon as you've been here for a while? I feel like everybody probably has a bunch of plans chambered and like ready to go. I don't know. That's my thought though. And until then, until they do, they'll have to go about their normal lives at the school. I guess I'll go to the classroom and see what their lessons are like after this. If it's Miss Sakura lecturing today, I'd love if she punished me by making me stand in the corner. By this point, they'd be trying to get... yeah, you gotta do like a Rube Goldberg machine out of it. Like, you gotta Final Destination someone. Or yeah, the umbrella kill from another.
After that, once lunch is over, I can go check out the tunnel. The situation yesterday was rather unique, and I didn't have the chance to investigate it in detail. I'll take a good look today and estimate whether it's at all feasible to dig through the collapsed tunnel by hand. Maybe there's something in the tool closet I checked out last night that could help me with my excavation. And after that, Ron rolled over. She felt that she would be able to fully recover soon. The class president, I don't know why she had to confess to me. I just hope Miss Sakura won't come to any misunderstandings. 10 minutes passed quickly. Ron sat at the side of the bed and raised her head. The top bunk was already neatly made. She frowned slightly and groped for her phone on the bed. The display showed that it was 8:30. Just in time to head to the classroom. Let's go.
Oi, Ibuki, you're late.
You never had any intention of calling me to come to class at all, did you? Classes had just let out, and though there weren't many students, the sound of their piecemeal chit-chat captured Ron's ears and pulled her back into her recollections. In the classroom of her memory, the sounds of the end-of-class bell had been like a signal gun, letting the students know that it was time to charge past the starting line of discipline and rush out together hand in hand down the racetrack named Laughter. Leaving only Ron behind, nobody would ever...
Are you just standing there like a dummy again? Don't tell me you skipped breakfast. I left a portion of food for you in the dining hall. Don't tell me you missed it.
Ron suddenly raised her head. Sai was standing next to her, watching her with a light frown. Oh, yeah, I saw them. The milk and cookies, right? They were pretty good. Ron-chan, what took you so long? Alright, eavesdropping.
Asakura-san, it seems like it's going to rain today. Will you still be going to the library this afternoon?
Let's just stay in the dorms instead. Didn't you want to get some math tutoring from Takei-san anyway? In the classroom of...
Takei-san, are you free this afternoon? I still don't fully understand what we went over last session.
Sure, I'm available. I'll see you later then. Asakura-san can come as well. Let's just have Tama visit you on her own. I'd like to be alone for a while. Oh. She'd like to be alone for a while. That makes me sound like she's plotting a murder. I think Asakura is the killer for this one. That's an immediate red flag for me. Aya circled around to Ron's back and laid her hands on Ron's shoulders. Missed my chemistry lecture. What? You're responsible for chemistry classes at the school? I guess self-teaching is the only hope we have then. Rude! Can you believe how rude that was of her? Laughing, Aya shook Ron's shoulders back and forth. On the other side, Koizumi had approached as well.
Good morning, Ibuki-san.
Good morning, Ibuki-san. Morning. Ron wasn't certain whether Koizumi had told anyone else about her confession. Most importantly, she looked all over the room, searching for An Sakura. Ron found her at the blackboard, where An was preparing an outline for the next class on the blackboard with a book in her hand. The next period is Miss Sakura's language class, then. As Ron thought of this, the bell rang in a hurry, signaling the start of class.
Hey, Ibuki, you don't have any textbooks on hand, do you? Come on, push a desk over, we'll share.
Ron nodded and took a seat next to Sai. Teaching the language class suits Miss Sakura well, though I'm sure she could teach any subject well. I can't believe I get to see Miss Sakura as a school teacher. That's Miss Sakura for you. She hides countless possibilities. Thinking about Miss Sakura, Ron couldn't help but start to giggle.
Ibuki, what the hell? Gross.
Oh, nothing. Ba-dum-bump. 45 minutes passed in the blink of an eye, and only when the bell rang again at the end of the class did Ron come back to her senses. It's over? Ron laid down the hand she was using to support her head and leaned back on the chair's back. An Sakura's class had been a bit underwhelming. I can't believe how ordinary that was. Is that really how Miss Sakura would act if she became a teacher? An had taught the class as if she were a young graduate who'd just become the newest intern at school, with a completely ordinary lecture. But back when Ron had asked for tutoring from An in the past, her lover had been completely different and far more expressive. She had been more expressive back then, making weird gesticulations and even weirder metaphors, and would even use the strangest comparisons to help Ron understand her points. That was probably because Miss Sakura and I were tutoring one-on-one, I guess. She would even hug my waist with one arm while writing solutions on the paper with the other too. Ron's gaze was still locked on An, who was approaching her. Current Miss Sakura isn't the one who knows how to cherish meaning. Ron's hands clenched into tight fists underneath the table. It's fine, it's fine. Miss Sakura will remember it all. I'll help her remember. Calm. Stay calm. How was my lesson, Ron? Were you able to take it all in? I was mostly just staring at you. I didn't really pay attention to the content of the lecture. Holy shit, you need to get a room. I swear, you're almost on Asakura's level. I was only speaking the truth. I don't see any reason to be embarrassed about that. An smiled awkwardly, looking a bit lonely. Well, next time I give a lecture, you best listen attentively, or else I'll make you stand in the corner. Okay. Now that sounded a bit like her old self. Though I probably don't need to attend class after this. As far as their classes go, there's nothing special about them, besides how they have students serve as teachers. I probably can't get any more useful clues from here. After that, the next 2 periods are both Hinata's math classes. Class president's math class? Hearing Koizumi's name come out of An's mouth, Ron panicked for a moment and parroted An's words back at her. What does Miss Sakura mean by this? Has the class president told her about this? Is Miss Sakura also about to interrogate me about it now? By then, Koizumi had already wiped off the remains of An's lecture onto the blackboard, and began writing math formulas there instead. Ron's eyes couldn't help but drift towards her. Koizumi held the notebook with her left hand and the stick of chalk with her right. In her right hand, danced swiftly across the blackboard. From time to time, she stood on tiptoes to reach the top of the board. Apparently, she'd finished transcribing the page she was on, because Koizumi gave her a right hand's middle finger a quick lick before she used it to flip to the next page. Oh, she's using her index and thumb to hold the chalk. Koizumi realized that Ron was looking at her, and startled a little bit before she quickly hid her right hand behind herself. Then she gave Ron an awkward smile, and continued writing on the blackboard. Something's going on with Hinata? Nothing. It was just that I thought she and Takei looked the most suitable to be school teachers, so... please don't come to any misunderstandings, Miss Sakura. The only person that I like is you. I couldn't possibly have feelings for anybody else. Well, actually, I'd love it if you paid other people a bit more attention. Your life can't be completely dependent on me, can it? Those words caused Ron's eyes to involuntarily widen. Shaking her head, she raised a hand to shield her face, and spoke with a dark voice from behind it. Miss Sakura, you would have never said anything like that if you hadn't lost your memories. My life is something that I only want to spend with you. I don't need anything else. What do you plan on doing this afternoon, Ibuki-san? Ron chewed slowly in a mouthful of conch, thinking about how she'd like to answer. Why is the class president asking again? Miss Sakura is right next to me. Let's just fend her off quickly. If I can't love you, I'd die. Then perish. Ron swallowed the savory conch before she answered. I'm going to check out the tunnel. Really? Then I'll come along too. Yeah, is conch something you eat? I've never heard of eating conch before. That's a new one. Koizumi laid down her chopsticks and pressed the fingers of her hands together. We could go around 3 in the afternoon. I can prepare some tea and snacks. Huh? Is that really necessary? Not that far away. I think it's a splendid idea. Koizumi's pastries are always quite delicious. An opportunity. Then would you like to come as well, Miss Sakura? Oh, no. Koizumi invited you, not me. I shouldn't intrude. You two enjoy yourselves. I've only known conch to be a type of shell. Fungus, not edible. Yeah, interesting. I've only seen it as like a shell that you can sell in video games and shit like that in the past. Interesting. Conch is edible. Good to know. I've never had it. I'll need to keep an eye out for it. Eat that conch. It's fine. If Ibuki-san wants to go with Sakura-san, I can prepare the biscuits and pastries for the two of you to take instead. That would be wonderful. Yes, let's do that. Ron. An turned and stared at Ron. The feeling of being watched by An was enough to fill Ron's heart with pleasure. It's back. The feelings of old Miss Sakura shining through again. Oh, is it cock? I thought it was either. Okay, I got it. I'll come to your room at 3 in the afternoon. Meet up with you, class president. Hearing Ron's assent, Koizumi's eyes lit up for a moment before they lowered again. If possible, could we meet by the entryway to the dormitory itself? Why? The rooms are so close to each other. Why can't we just go downstairs together? Okay, I guess. Koizumi's attitude displeased Ron greatly. No, I asked you why. You can go ahead and tell me why. You don't just have to roll over and be all like, okay. Koizumi shook her head. It's nothing, just a personal problem. Well, if she says it that way, I guess I just have to accommodate her, huh? Whatever. Sakura's here and it's not a big deal anyway. Let's just go along with what Koizumi wants. Fine. Dormitory entrance by 3 o'clock then. It's settled. Ron's quick change in attitude cheered Koizumi greatly, and she gave a wide smile. Okay, thank you, Ibuki-san. I got interrupted last time by your confession. This time, let's ask her a little bit more about Miss Sakura. But next time, we will do that. As it is just about 5 o'clock. We are on Chapter 1. Things are continuing to be completely insane. I'm looking forward to continuing this in the future. Yeah. Thank you all for coming. It's always a pleasure to have anybody here. Thank you for the subs that we got during this this stream as well. I truly appreciate it. And yeah, I hope you all have a lovely rest of your evening. And I will see you ideally next week, Wednesdays and Thursdays, 3 to 5 Pacific. So thank you again all for coming. And I'll see y'all later. Bye. Hey, if you stuck around to the end of the video, I just wanted to say thank you, and I hope that you enjoyed. If you want to help support me in making more of this, you can follow me on Twitch, where I stream these live. Like, comment, and subscribe. I suspect you all know how this works by now, but it really does help a lot. Thanks.